here's our situation. Somebody has ordered some tea. What are we going to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look and see the temperature and the amount of tea that is required. Now what's on here is what is required for a large. Okay? So we see here it says 1 tablespoon and the temperature is 185. Now what's really important is the temperature. We want to make sure that we use the proper temperature, because if you don't, you're going to extract some stuff from the tea that you don't want to taste. And that's the main reason. Anytime you're brewing tea, what you're doing is an infusion. And that's a certain extraction. You're extracting flavors and different compounds from the tea. So you want to extract some of them, but not others. Right? If you extract things for too long, if you extract things at too high a temperature, you're going to extract more stuff than you actually want to taste. So let's remember how much, and I forgot to mention how long also. The steeping time is extremely important for what we're extracting. Now if someone orders a regular size tea, they can either have it for here or to go. Now a to-go tea is going to be in our 12-ounce mug, and we want to think in terms of the amount of tea. The rule of thumb is 6 ounces of water for every teaspoon of tea. So someone ordered a Kokicha tea, which is the one I just showed you, and they ordered it to go, so we're going to use this tea bag, and we're going to use a teaspoon. And our teaspoon is going to have 2 scoops of Kokicha tea in there, right into the cup. We're going to go ahead and pour the hot water. Now when you pour hot water in it, make sure you pour it on the bottom and not directly onto the tea, because it gives you more of an even brew. But hopefully next time they come in, they're going to order a tea for here. Now the reason we want to order tea for here is because in these tea baskets there's a lot of space, and that gives the tea a lot of space to brew. It gives the tea a lot of space to do its thing, and it helps it, the extraction and the tea, to be a much better, much finer experience. Now since this is also going to be a 12 ounce, we're going to once again put 1 and 2 teaspoons. And as a rule of thumb, it's okay to sort of put a little bit too much tea, okay? You don't want to put too little tea, because we really want to get people's, full flavor experience. Now once you put your 2 teaspoons in your tea basket, your next step is going to be to rinse it. You want to rinse that tea because, man, it's gone through a lot. It has, could have some pesticides on it, some dust on it. It's been through a whole journey before it got here. So kind of this is what they call waking up the tea. So once you wake up the tea, you put it right in your mug, and you're going to go ahead and choose the proper temperature. And you also want to be thinking at this point, how long do I want to steep this tea? Now I'm remembering that this tea said 2 to 3 minutes. So remembering how long it's going to be, so I can tell whoever I'm giving this tea to that, hey, let this steep for another 2 minutes and then it'll be ready. Now what's really important with this vessel is that when you give it to somebody, a lot of people aren't used to these. What you want to tell them is, hey, when you're ready to stop steeping your tea, you take the top off of it, but you keep the top on top because it's going to help it brew, help it get its flavor. When you're done steeping, take the top off, you put it down, and you lift up the basket and you put it on top, okay? Let them know that, because the point of these little baskets is to keep the water from spilling out and keep our tables looking nice, and that's a nice design right there. So that's our tea for here, regular size, and our tea for here, to go, regular size. Now, let's say that somebody asked you for a large, okay? They're going to order some Seductive Rose. It's going to be large. And now we're getting into some flavored teas, okay? Now these are teas that are not just tea. These teas actually have other stuff in them, and this one has rose petals. Makes it a real popular tea. So once again, if it's going to be to go, this time I'm going to use a tablespoon, because 1 tablespoon, as we all know, equals 3 teaspoons. And this is going to be in a large cup to go, about 20 ounces of tea. So you could use a little bit more than a tablespoon, or in our for here, it's going to be 16 ounces of tea. And we want to remember that people can always get another refill of hot water, and so you're always giving people plenty bang for their buck when you're giving them tea. So here we're going to put this one to go. Use a little bit more than a tablespoon. It goes right in there. Once again, remember when we're filling this up with hot water, we're going to use 205 temperature, and we're going to recommend to folks, also we're going to fold in this tea bag so it settles underneath and in between the bags so that it's easy. And we're going to tell people, hey, take this out after 3 minutes. Now, hopefully next time they're going to ask for it for here, and that's when we're going to use our tea press. Our tea press is a really smart way to brew some tea. And here, once again, we're going to use 1 full tablespoon, and I am going to put a little bit of extra. It's always better to err on a little bit too much tea. A little bit too much, not a lot, because that can make it bitter as well. And this time, I'm going to rinse my tea. Always rinse my tea. I wake up my tea, okay? We talk about folks being woke. We want our tea to be woke as well, all right? So we're going to pour out that. See how I just did that? Easy. Lifting that up, and now I'm ready to put my hot water in here. Once again, I'm going to be using 203 water, and I'm going to be thinking about, while I'm filling this up, I'm going to be thinking about how long does this tea steep. I remember that I looked on it, it said 3 minutes. Put it right here, and when I serve this to a customer, I'm going to give them this nice cup, and I'm going to give them this nice tea strainer. And I'm going to tell them, hey, about 2 minutes and 30 seconds longer, you're going to press this down to strain it, and then you're going to serve yourself some tea. That's all you got to do, my friend. This is how we serve, this is how we flow, this is how we grow with ESP Tea.